an aspect of the art imitating life, life imitating art dynamic of, we've had our superhero era, and not that superheroes will ever become unloved. We're always going to need heroes, and, we're always going to be inspired by heroes and everything like that, right? But the dynamics of the world have changed in very, very interesting ways, where the superhero in the ordinary sense is not the hero that you need per se, right? We don't live in a world where, you see, a few years ago, we lived in this superhero kind of world, because it's weird, right? It's like there's a lot of people, although people are still troubled, we still have a world where there's crime and somebody needs to step in and like do the right thing and yada yada yada. Like, I feel aspects of the hero, in my heart, right? And you don't want to sit there and like, I need to fuck up the world so I have a purpose, right? It gets into the whole dynamic of the hero needs to create a villain in order to feel like they have purpose. That archetype has been played out in film and everything else. I've stated that like Batman is the necessity of the corruption of Gotham City, and Bruce Wayne can't fix the corruption of Gotham City. And Bruce Wayne's money may secretly be a party to the corruption of Gotham City, right? This whole kind of thing, right? So there's all this stuff going on, but there's an interesting thing happening with the consciousness shift in just the landscape of the world, that when you compare the world and what was focused on upon the world leading up until your 2020 situation, right? Where you were at the height of the superhero movie, right? Having its great climax with the Avengers Endgame film. When the things that collapsed and the cycles ended when they did in 2020, it kind of sucked the atmosphere out, right? Like, you had the Floyd riots of 2020, like, and in a weird way, I think that had a lot to do with it, where you had all the villains coming out using virtue signaling to say that they were the heroes, and then all the heroes couldn't catch a break from anybody in control of the media, although on the ground game, on the internet networks, the conversation, it was a completely different script flip on who was cheering who, by and large, right? And so, and of course, the virtue signaling of the left versus the religious puritanism of the right, both of them had their own ideas of what a hero and what a villain was. And we saw this stuff get subconsciously, unconsciously played out in fucking reality in these, in the streets, right? Because I think ultimately the psychotronic mind control effect of these films on the unconscious, as opposed to on people like me, was quite different. People fell into the subversion of it all, where regardless of any logic that was in their normal core values and what would reflect what they've seen espoused in their favorite superhero films, the one with the good plots, with the sophisticated villains that weren't just cookie cutter evilness incarnate kind of people. This became very much their war cry. It's like, I'm Captain America. Here's all of the Nazis I'm allowed to punch, and thus the punch a fascist meme, and then you couldn't find a liberal who didn't think a Republican or a Democrat that couldn't think a Republican didn't deserve to get punched. It's this shit. All right, we all kind of understand this sick little game that they played. Cooking with Papa, bro. No, you're not. No, I'm not. No, I'm not. No, of course not. I know. See, that's my point. That's my point. That's my point. You're my point right there. People, people that actually try to do good in the world. Doesn't matter. It's people like the personal drama, right? I've since my interview episode I did like a week or so ago. Circumstances insulted me, and my feelings were hurt, and I had to go on a tear out there because it was ultimately a blocked wall, right? And so our superheroes, they have their flaws, but they're still kind of predictable at the same time. The movie shows the flaw coming, right? It rationalizes the flaw. You have sympathy for the flawed hero. In real life, we are too pessimistic. We don't believe in heroes. So if someone like me thinks he has the audacity to be a hero, but also has the poor optics of going after people that other people like, right? Or making their personal shit public for a particular reason, right? That that kills it, right? And being the hero is not supposed to be worth it, right? And at the end of the day, it's true. If you truly are called to be a hero, you're doing it on principle, meaning you're doing it whether people want you to or not. Right? Because it doesn't matter what people want. The only thing that matters is, did you do the right thing at the right time? Or did you wait? Right? It's like the idea that Owen Benjamin always talked about Dave Chappelle. That Dave Chappelle was doing stole his joke like a year or two after it had passed, when it didn't matter, didn't have any impact, and was hardly truly that funny. It was a joke of catharsis only, as opposed to a joke of radicalism, right? And Owen Benjamin can make perfect claim that he said it when it was dangerous, so Dave Chappelle could make money saying it when it was safe. And Owen Benjamin is an unsung hero in comedy for that. And of course, I'll say that because I typically like Owen Benjamin. If you don't like Owen Benjamin, you will never rationalize that was heroic as a comedian. To do the right thing when it was distasteful and nobody believed in you, right? When nobody understood. But at the end of the day, it's about your character. It's about the character of the people around you, It's about the fact that somebody like a Dave Chappelle would have been a colleague of Owen's. And it's disrespect between colleagues, right? And there's a thing in comedy about lesser known comedians unfortunately having their material stolen by better known comedians that have an agent that gets them in, and then the power of their agent giving them their exposure, now the joke is claimed by them, right? So the same thing can happen to me with my music. Somebody could steal a riff off of Zeralath's shreds and copyright it and publish it, possibly. Maybe change it just so slightly, and I'll know it. Nobody else will know it. But I came up with that riff first. So yeah, um, that is a big part of. So my point is that you see how like the landscape changes, right? So the landscape for superheroes changes. Like people's behavior have changed in a way that's made it unnecessary in many respects, right? Um, there might be some shit that goes down, I suppose, in the cities that you don't fucking know about. But as far as in the world, I mean, like, we don't have the same landscape of terrorism and organized crime that we've had. I mean, there still is terrorism and organized crime, but like it doesn't have the level of significance that calls for a hero, like like it did back then when nobody knew what to do about the issues at all and the problems, right? And we've been going through a process where people that aren't waking up, at the very least, somebody is doing a cleanup operation in the shadows on behalf of humanity. And that can have a whole lot to do why there isn't a need for it, right? And very much the ethos of people like me, regardless of whether you like me or hate me, or you just can't get behind me because I insulted your favorite person on the podcast verse. You know, whether all of those things are true or not, it doesn't matter, because I am putting out into the universe. I'm speaking forth to create, and showing it for what it is, expanding my consciousness, changing my mind, all the good things. And so yeah. I'm gonna go and take care of a little bit of grocery shopping. It's been fun showing you my muscles again. Because, you know, you're never gonna go see me save somebody, because nobody wants me to save them. So I'm no hero, right? So you know, I get to look like a hero and not even do the hero stuff, because nobody wants me to do the hero stuff, and nobody's giving me the opportunity. Nobody's giving me trouble to do, right? Oh, I'm sorry, there was. When I was talking to Vitriol, the drunk almost destroyed the merch table, and I saved the merch table, and I saved the drunk from himself. So fuck you, I am a hero. I'll catch you later.